Hey everybody, this is TJ submitting my late, for the second week in a row, video. It's a busy month in my field, so excuse the tardiness. But anyway, this week's topic has been religion. Folks have talked about their own histories and present feelings or connections around religion and spirituality, so I'll share a little bit of mine. I was born in Lebanon to Armenian parents. My mother is Armenian Apostolic, which is rather close to most Christian Orthodox religions. And my father is Armenian Catholic. And there's distinctions, which is why I'm specifying Armenian Catholic, but all above my head. So because my dad was Armenian Catholic, my sister and I both were christened Catholic also in Lebanon. But we left when I was 3 years old and my sister was 6 months old, and moved to Cyprus, where there is a pretty decent sized Armenian community there also, but there wasn't an Armenian Catholic church, and still isn't one. The main Armenian churches in Cyprus were apostolic ones, so we went to apostolic churches. So, as far as me and my sister are concerned, I think either really didn't make much of a difference. We were Christian. There's definitely a lot of schisms between all kinds of different Christian sects, and in different countries, they matter more than others, and what type of church you go to sometimes dictates what school you go to, and who you hang out with, who your community really is, and all kinds of other random stuff. And our family isn't too into that. I think it's much more important for us to just have a connection to God in some form or fashion. But throughout my coming out as all kinds of various identities when it came to my sexuality and gender, I struggled a lot with religion and spirituality, and just kind of finding a peace within where all of those spaces could coexist in me. And it's still, I wouldn't say it's a struggle anymore, but it's still a seeking sort of path for me. I think I, for the most part, I've reconciled with the fact that I am Christian, and that what my own kind of Christianity looks like, if it resembles one sect over another more so, I don't know. That's the part that I'm still seeking out and kind of figuring out. But I really appreciated, I think it was Matt that talked about Quakerism, which I've found to be a very accepting space, and one that I do want to explore more. I was exposed to the Quaker religion, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, and ever since then I feel like it crosses my path in all kinds of little ways. I really appreciate the non-hierarchical ways that Quakers embody their faith. There isn't this central figure that everybody has to follow that person's particular instructions as to what God is or is not saying to them. And I very much appreciate the centrality of social justice and peace and activist work within their faith, because I find that to be very relevant for me. I think that's what I struggled the most with. Faith and religion when I was first starting to come out was not as much about the perceived homophobia or transphobia or anything like that within scriptures, but rather what I did not what I felt like I struggled the most with was the hypocrisy of a lot of faith communities and in churches, and I'm primarily speaking about churches because that is my primary context that I've experienced religion through, is through Christianity. We was seeing like all these folks talking about community and faith and all that stuff, but really not doing the work to to really push progress within their community, but rather kind of took money more so. Going on a rant, someone to stop that. One of the things that I very, very much appreciate is the fact that I grew up within a community that gave me access to other religions, particularly Islam. Having grown up in the Middle East and being born in Lebanon, and I've had a lot of exposure to Islam and Muslims. So I very much appreciate that, because I feel like I have a much better understanding, maybe not of all the tenets of the religion, but of all the myths and stereotypes that a lot of people here in the West hold about Muslims and Islam. And I feel like I have a much greater appreciation and respect for the religion because of the exposure that I've had. And I've also found a lot of writings by Muslims in a lot of YouTube videos by folks really talking about their faith, and I found that to really enrich my own faith and my own Christianity in random ways, as much as Buddhism, some writings in Buddhism has too. Sufism is a particular sect within the Muslim religion that I find very nurturing, for example. But that's the thing. I really appreciate the exposure to other faiths to really nurture my own. But what this has to do with being trans or not, I guess for me, it exists within me. So they definitely cohabitat my being. But beyond that, I know there's a lot of folks within, coming from a faith space that find this to be wrong or sinful, that God has made some sort of mistake, or that we're saying that God has made some sort of mistake, and since God doesn't make mistakes, then we're kind of messing with them. One of the things that, for me, I think reconciled my faith was the awareness that, yeah, God, in my case, didn't make a mistake. He didn't accidentally make me into a girl when I was supposed to be a boy or something like that. I was supposed to be born in the body that I was born in. I was supposed to experience the things that I experienced in order to nurture my masculinity and my manhood. All of those things, for me, my trans path has been a spiritual path. It has given me a lot of strength and courage. It has provided space for me to feel compassion towards other people's struggles, and it has given me faith in a lot of ways towards my fellow people, as well as faith in myself. So if anything, my trans journey has really centralized spirituality for me. The religion part, like I said, I'm still kind of figuring out what that exactly looks like, but very strongly feel tied to spirituality in some way. I wanted to also offer a couple of resources for folks that I've found helpful, or I've heard from other people that it's been helpful. One of them is this documentary called The Believers, and it's a Frameline documentary. It's about, I'm going to read this off the screen, the Transcendence Gospel Choir, which is basically an all-trans gospel choir, I believe, in San Francisco. It was a really, really, really cool documentary to watch, so I definitely recommend that. The other resources, there were two of them, I'll find the other one, are a couple of books. One of them is called Hermaphrodites, the Transgender Spirituality Workbook, and this is by Raven Caldera, who, from what I understand, Raven has a lot of knowledge and done a lot of looking into spirituality and trans people and gender identity and stuff like that. So most definitely someone to look into. The other one, sorry, I just had this up on the screen and it disappeared. There's another book on transgender ministry, basically, and looking more specifically at Christianity and trans identity. So just look up transgender and religion on Amazon, and you'll get it. And then I'll just put a link down below. All right, thanks, folks. Hope to get back on track with Fridays from now on. I'll see y'all next week.